So last time we stopped, we stopped here. We made our little mushroom tree. Today we're gonna move on. We're gonna find something fun. Let's see what we're missing. What can be a fun one to do? This is already super easy. Maybe we do either this bullet guy. We can also do one of these plants. We got the plants. Okay. So does anybody have any suggestions? Anybody have anyone in particular they'd like to see? We could even make this little rock dude. Let's see. Ooh, this guy's cool.
So are we going to make even the characters themselves like Mario and
if we have time in the class, if we get there, yes, I can show you guys how to make the characters.
Okay.
Yeah, if we get that, I want to do all the environment pieces first, and then if we have time, I can show you guys. Or I think me personally, I will go. I'm gonna show it regardless if the class ends or not. So you guys will always get a chance to come back later and watch it if you want. But yeah, if we get time in class, I'll go through some of the characters and how I would go about making Mario and stuff like that. So yeah, it's something we can do. So does anybody have any preferences as to what they want to see?
The plant.
Which plant? This guy or this guy? This guy.
That one. The red one in the pipe, yeah.
This guy?
Yes.
Okay. Alright. So let's take our sphere. So I would start just start with the sphere like that. And the thing about spheres is they're pretty cool. So if I hit F4, I can see the outline of the sphere. All right. So I can see the outline of the sphere. So if I hit W on the keyboard, Alt X, and I can hide everything else. So now I can see, hey, this is how much he's okay, so now we want to turn on slice on plane, and what we can do is we can just open her up, right? Just open her up like so. I know I'm pretty sure you guys didn't know you could do this, but and I'm gonna reduce my segments just because I want to maybe 20 or something like that, just so I have some geo, and then I can I think right there is about good. So it already slices it open for us. And then I would block out the stem. And to block that out, I would just use a line. I would just grab a line like so. And I would bring it all the way into the pot like so. And what I can do then is I'll start with like a plane, because this is like a leaf that I can tell has like jagged edges on it, right? Like I can tell like it's got some like waves to it. So all I really got to do is make one. But let's get back to our line. So we just made our line tool. We can drop the rendering down here. We're going to enable it in the renderer, and we're going to enable it in the viewport. So now we can see that our stem is that thick, and we want to make the thickness a little bigger just so that it matches the silhouette of our actual Mario stem. So I'm just going to hold down Alt X right there. Now it's see-through. So if I hit 1 on the keyboard, and I can just pull this guy right in here. And I'm going to do a little modeling to this here in a little bit, just so we have, because if you guys can see, it's got this little like this little bulbous part right here. So we'll model that in. But what we can do now is I want to refine this so I can give myself some more geo in between to kind of bend this a little bit so that it has a little more life to it. All right, so let me like this. Let me turn on no board so you guys can see exactly what I'm clicking. So here is my stem. Then I'm going to go into make my, actually let's finish what I was trying to do. All right, so let's refine this. Oops. Okay, so I must not have one selected, so I need to go to my vertice mode, and then I should be able to refine this guy right here in the geometry tab, so I can refine it, and I can add more points to this if I want to. And then if I hit, you know, W, then I can use that to kind of give this guy a little more life, you know. And right now I think the points are they're corners right now, and I can turn them into either smooth or Bezier corners, and I usually just use Bezier corners, and you can, you know, because it gives you these Bezier handles, these two handles right here, and you can have them as either like a Bezier corner or just a regular Bezier, which this way they're either attached like so, or they break the two tangent handles on their angles. So you can have either one of those, and right now I'm using the Bezier, just the Bezier, not the Bezier corner. So, and I'm gonna just turn this guy. No, let's do Bezier. Actually, I don't want this. Let's delete all of these, and I'm just gonna do the best I can with one. And then like that. If I pull that way, it's gonna allow me to bend. I don't want a crazy bend because it's not like a crazy bend in there. Alright, so just to add a little life to it, nothing more. So now if I hit Alt X on here, Alt X on here, we should have something to as our base. So the next thing is we're going to try to, you know, kind of block out this leaf. All right, so, you know, like I said before, there's two ways we can do. We can do it with the line where we kind of draw it out. I need to close the spline. So line tool, and you need, if to see it without that stuff, you just need to turn off the enable and render and enable and viewport. So you can do this where you know, then you can close the spline and you have that as your spline shape. And this would be okay if this was like, it's gonna be like just an image or something, like, and you're gonna use it just for like an advertisement or something, and it's gonna be shot from just this angle. You're just replicating this alone. But if it's something that you're trying to use for like a game or something, you want it to be kind of functional. So for that, I'm gonna just start with a plane and build it out like so. I'm gonna take out the length and the width segments, hit 1 on the keyboard, right click it, convert to an editable poly, hit 1 on the keyboard, and then just start, you know, start pulling and pushing vertices. So I'm gonna hit Alt Y, or just, you know, your swift flip tool, and add a loop in the middle like so, and then right, just like that. And the beauty of this is that whenever we're done with it, we can just duplicate it to the other side, so we don't have to make it twice. So just like that. So if I hit Alt Y, I can throw one right in the middle. If I hold down Shift, it finds the exact middle, and I can put it in just right in the middle. So hit W on the keyboard, and then just pull this guy out like so. And then what I can do is select those, and I can just do a chamfer. I'm just gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4. Do a nice chamfer like that. Hit the check mark. Alright, hit 1 on the keyboard, and I'm just gonna start kind of matching this silhouette a little bit. So I'm just grabbing, pushing and pulling verts. Alright, this is the job right here. You're just pushing and pulling vertices from place to place, matching silhouettes. Alright. This guy goes in like so. This guy comes out like so. This guy goes in like so. Right, just like that, we've got our leaf. Right, F3. What I might want to do is I might just want to do like that, and then yeah, that's fine. Alright, so now I've got my little stem and stuff in place. So let's turn on turbo smooth and see what we like. Let's see if we like what we see. Alright, so I threw on a turbo smooth, and because I didn't have a shell modifier on it, based on where my shell modifier is, it will either do 1 or 2 things. So let me show you guys what I'm talking about. So because I don't have my shell modifiers on top of my turbo smooth, so it's turbo smoothing this, and because my edges don't continue, let me show you what I'm talking about. So watch this. These edges aren't connected to anything. So if I turn on turbo smooth, it's gonna make this edge a hard edge. But the moment I add like geometry or something, or have a geometry that's connected to it, watch what it does to that edge. Right? You see that? So this is what I'm talking about when it comes to your smoothing, and whenever it comes to where your shell is on your modifier stack. So if I put it in here, now it's gonna make it like a smoother all around, rather than something that's hard when you put it on top of it, like that. All right. So the next thing I want to do is I kind of want to start bending these, because these are leaves. So I know that it has like a spine here, and then these sides are kind of bent. So that's the next thing I'm going to try to do now is just try to get that in there. So just gonna select that, pull this guy back like so. Right, and then we've got our spine kind of protruding like that. And then I'm going to select my spine. I'm going to deselect that guy. And I'm going to chamfer. So I'm going to reduce my chamfer amount. No, actually, let me see what chamfer does. No. Right. No, I don't want to chamfer it at all. So what I do want to do is I think I want to extrude it. So bring this back like so. So I'm going to hit the extrude. I'm just actually going to pull this guy up a little bit. So our spine kind of protrudes out a little bit above that. Now, if I hit my turbo smooth, I should get something that looks like that. Okay. So now I can throw a shell on it. Actually, let's put my shell underneath. I'm gonna put my shell underneath it. Let's reduce this shell amount so it's more the size of a leaf, more of a cartoony leaf. Right. Another thing I want to do is I want to add an edge loop right here. So I can just hit Alt Y to get my Swift loop out, and I'm just going to add this edge loop right here, just so that whenever I turbo smooth it, it stays like on the straight and narrow. So it goes straight into that, like that. All right. So let's turn this on to 2. All right. So we've got our leaf, we've got our base stem, and we've got our mouth open. All right. So I'm gonna look at these guys. So like these guys are hollow, kind of hollowish. I don't know if they have a tongue. Let me see. Oh, this guy's got a tongue. Hey, that guy's got a tongue, and I think he's got teeth in there. So teeth, and we're gonna make a tongue for him. All right. And that's gonna be cool. So that's, see, like right, that's what the kind of leaf looks like. That's what it kind of looks like right there. So yeah, so I figured it had some kind of little spinies to them. So I might even go in here and make my my little spiny things extra spiny. If on a keyboard, just make them, just bring them out a little more so that whenever it goes back into that shape. Yeah. Maybe sharper than that. So let's see what happens if we throw like a chamfer on it and see what we get. Just like that. Okay. Yeah, I kind of like this a little better. Yeah. So I just chamfer these guys right there. I'm gonna do One on the keyboard. Yeah, this guy right there. And that's just because it's bending. Yeah, that looks better. Alright, so now we've got our plant looking more angry, more vicious, more ready to poke you to death. And I think that's what it's kind of what these guys kind of profile is telling me it looks like. Alright, cool. So now let's work on these ginormous lips they have. Alright, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna just take this guy, we're gonna throw an edit poly modifier on him, and next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select this guy right there, this guy right here, and I am just gonna create shape from selection, like so. Alright, so now that I've created the shape from the selection, what that does is it allows me to take any shape that I want, right? Like any line that I want, and I can create a shape from that line. So I can create a shape like that, and I can, if I hit the options, it allows me to make either a linear shape or a smooth shape, and the linear shape doesn't have any smoothing in it, and the smoothing has smoothing. It's already smooth. It's got, but I like to do my own smoothing later, so I usually go for linear. So any shape I click, I can make a shape for. Any line I click, I can make a shape for. So that's all I did there, just so you guys don't get like, what is he doing? Oh my goodness, no, it's nothing crazy. It's just a simple function of 3ds Max. So now we've got our lippies in there, and we can now go into our shape tool. Right. So let's start shaping this guy. Right now, let me select this, hit M on the keyboard, and then I'm gonna select the colors for our modeling colors, essentially. So hide selection. I've got the white, I've got the green, I just need the red. Okay, so we're gonna select this guy. Okay. Now let's unhide all again. Now let's start applying our modeling materials to these. The white. This is the stem, and this is the leaf. Okay. And then I can mirror this guy, make it an instance, pull this guy over like so. Yeah. Okay. So we can throw in an edit poly modifier on this guy right here, and then what we can do is we can go into our soft selection, use soft selection, and then I can let's see, reduce my fall off. So my fall off is like right there. So let me select all of this on Q. Alright, so we can use soft selection. Alright, now if we scale, if we do what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to delete one side. So I'm only working from one side of this guy. Select this. Let's see. Okay, let's do local. I'm just going to do one side then. Let's do one side. T on the keyboard. Let's do view. Scale this guy. Okay. We're not going to use that then. What was the point of view? I'm just going to delete this guy as well. So I'm only working with a quarter. And scaling this guy down. Scaling this guy down. Okay. So I'm just kind of scaling it to match the silhouette of the other one. The beauty of this is I'm only doing it for a quarter of it because I know I'm just going to symmetry it on the other sides. So that's the beauty of this. So let's unhide all. So now I see that this guy kind of goes like that and then to the other side. So now all I have to do to apply my changes, and he's kind of got like, it kind of goes up here, so like I think right here it kind of gets to the apex of it. It's like that. There we go. So something that's a little more cartoonish. Alright, so now I can just hit the symmetry modifier on this guy. So symmetry modifier, let's flip that. I'm gonna go back to my edit poly so that I can select my and just pull this guy in like so. There we go. Okay. Let's go to my symmetry modifier, hit 1. I'm gonna pull this guy in. So actually hit R on the keyboard, and I'm gonna scale that down. With my symmetry modifier on this guy. Okay, now let's flip this guy. I hit 1 on my keyboard. Just gonna pull this guy in. Like that. Okay. Alright, so now we're going to go to my edit poly. and I'm gonna select that middle, this guy, control backspace, and then alt. Okay, I'm gonna ring. It's actually gonna ring, and no, don't default connect. Alt, yeah. Alt, line, shift, and like just like that. All right. So I put another loop right in the middle of it. So I took the other one out just to make sure that it was going to be symmetrical. And then I can just add my last symmetry modifier to the top of this. Alright, so now I want it to symmetry on the x-axis for me. Just like so. I've got that guy on the x-axis symmetry. I hit edit poly. I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna pull this guy down. These guys are like maniacal. Right, so now my symmetry is on point. Everything's good to go. Alright, so now for the teeth. The teeth are just a few cylinders placed in there properly, and that's what we're gonna do next. The teeth, and then we're gonna do the tongue, and then we're gonna wrap it up, and then it's gonna be done. That's it. It's very easy. You just take them, one step at a time, trying to figure out, all right, what's the best shape, what's the best way to do this so far. Does anybody have any questions so far as I'm showing this demo? Is there anything that's confusing or giving you guys any issues right now, or you guys just want me to keep going?
So are we also supposed to do this high poly to low poly?
No, these are just high polys. The high poly, low poly process that you have are only for the crate and the barrel. That's the only ones you have to do. These are just high polys, and then we're gonna render these out.
Alright.
Yeah. Alright, so let's continue. So I'm just going to start with a basic cylinder for the teeth. And I already have like all these other profiles, so I know what the teeth is supposed to look like. So I can just go to F, and then boop, boop. Let's see. Hit E, rotate this 90 degrees, but you see that, oh, it's rotating not on my snaps. I need to turn on my angle snaps. That make sure that this is rotated. Oh, I think I rotated it too far. I think I rotated 95 instead of 90. So, all right. So now I have my my base shape here from a tooth. And what I can do is reduce these segments to maybe, yeah, like just like that. And then let me do 2 cap segments. All right, and then we're gonna convert this guy to an editable poly. And what we're going to do is just hit F on the keyboard. Actually, let's move it to one of these teeth. And just to have some reference to say, alright, we at least referenced one tooth or 2 teeth or whatever you want to call it. So we'll do this top one. We'll hit Alt X, and then we'll just start modeling our stuff. So just gonna go R, scale this guy in, scale this guy all the way in. And we're just scaling. I'm gonna take this edge right there. And 2 on the keyboard. Just like that. And then just pull this guy up. So make this guy a little bigger. And what I realize about these teeth is that they kind of go up like that in scale. So and these extras are just to give you enough just in case like you need to bend some or do whatever you want with them. So this is like our basic tooth. And the reason is, you know, I keep it this low so that, you know, whenever I'm done, I can just turn on Turbo Smooth and I've got my tooth, right? So that's how easy that is to make. So I've got my tooth. Now let's start jamming it in this guy's face. Right. So let's actually first let's put our modeling material, our tooth material, or our white material, just so we're modeling with everything we want to model with. I'm gonna hit E on the keyboard to rotate, and so what I like to do is I like to look at how they kind of have theirs profiled. So if you look at this guy, you can see that like he's got these like right under the lip thing, and they're coming from there. That's essentially what I'm going to do as well. And you see that these are a little wider, and so we're going to throw an FFD modifier on there just so you know, we can shape those bottom teeth to our liking. And that's one of the ways where you can give yourself a little more leverage whenever it comes to kind of rendering some of this stuff and posing and different things like that after. So I've got my my tooth in here. So I actually like to do is like I keep like a clean one, and then I start to use copies of it. Right, I'll use a copy of this, and as the actual one that I'm moving around and modeling with, so that I have something that you know, just in case I mess up, just in case I don't like it, I have a clean one that I can always go back to, and we'll be fine from there. All right, so let's start putting these. So he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at the top, and let me see, do we have 5 at the top and the bottom? It looks this. Some of them are like different though. Like some of them have like these little short spiny ones, and you know, some of these guys have, yeah. So maybe 5 and 5. Let's just do 5 and 5 and see how that looks. Maybe 5 and 4. It might be 5 and 4. So we just need to figure out where is his front and back. So it doesn't matter for us. So we're just gonna do 1 here. 1, and then shift drag. I'll make this a copy. 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm still gonna just kind of, you know, replace them. Okay, so let's put this guy like right there. Jam him in his jaw. This guy's got way too many, so I think maybe this guy like, so 3 like that. Okay. So when it comes to shaping these, that's going to be the next part of this. So we need to shape these so that they look a little more terrifying and less like little nodules. So to do that, you know, I was telling you guys about the FFD modifier. So I'm just going to put an FFD. I just hit F on the keyboard in my modifier list right here, and it pulls up this modifier list. So I just use this FFD 4x4, and I can use that to start to shape my tooth. So if I hit 1 on the keyboard, it allows me to use these control points as overall control markers for our tooth. So now we can just start grabbing and pulling, and I'm adjusting it overall, you know, as a tooth. Right? So you guys can see, starting to get a little bit of a differing shape in there now. Starting to get some interesting stuff going on with that tooth. And then I can do FFD right here. Right, because like it looked like some of the bases on them, right, are oh, I locked my computer. So it looks like some of the bases on them, you know, might be having a little wider. You know, they got a little curve to them. You can even rotate it a little bit. All right. So making them sharper, making them deadlier, ready to pierce you and end your life. Take that extra life that you just earned back. So you hear that fatal sound. It's probably one of the most popular and worst sounds you hear. Dying in Mario. Alright, let's throw another FFD modifier on this bad boy. Alright, that's, you know, that's pretty much the name of the game at this point. Just FFDs. Select the top, rotate, pull them out. Just rotate this guy like so. Start placing them in there. I can even, if I want, copy this FFD modifier and just paste it on here. Alright, and then I can just rotate this guy around like so. Just grab that FFD, just make some minor tweaks to it. Make my own minor tweaks to it, right? So I'm not having to, you know, start from scratch every time if I don't want to. Maybe make this guy a little sharper, a little smaller. Alright, just copy, excuse me, this FFD modifier. Nope. Nope, I didn't copy the FFD modifier. Copy the FFD modifier and paste the FFD modifier here. Hit 1 on the keyboard just to make it a wee bit different, right? Rotate this guy like that, just so he matches the outline and contour of this shape. Maybe even make it a little bit smaller because they're the side. we can just do a mirror on the Y, like so. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just delete one of them. And then just rearrange these guys so they match the gaps left by the teeth. So the idea is that when it chomps, it should be able to chomp. It's, you know, your teeth are supposed to be like, since they're fangs, they're supposed to be asymmetrical. So that's the idea here, is just to make sure that these guys look like if it chomped, it would actually not just collide with the other teeth. And I think that's pretty much the way it should work. So I'm just gonna pull these guys up like so. And do the same for these guys. Right. So the next part of this is the tongue, and I think after we do the tongue, we can just wrap it up because we've still got to fix the stem. All right. The tongue is actually pretty easy, so let's unhide all again. Let's hide that. So the tongue is just a plain, you can even make it a box, you know, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually use the geometry from inside of this, our little circle itself, to make our tongue. So I'm going to hit Alt Q, and we've got our little hemisphere here. So I'm just going to use some geo from this to create our tongue from. Right. I just selected those polygons, and now if I hit R and I hold down Shift, I can scale in, and it's going to create a new piece of geometry for me. So it's going to ask me if I want to clone part of this mesh as an element or an object. Actually, I want to make it its own object. And I'm gonna select get out of the sphere, and I'm gonna go into this plane. So now I've got my plane selected. I'm just gonna pull it out because this tongue is gonna be sticking out anyway. So let's select this guy right here, and now I can shift drag this out, but I need to make sure that I'm dragging on the local axis. So if I held down Shift like that, right? So what I want to do is I want to make like 1, maybe 2, and then I'm just going to pull this guy up on its local axis so that it, like, you know, let's see. I'm just going to pull this guy up like so. So this is going to be our tongue. So the next thing we want to do is we just want to add a shell modifier to this guy. Let's do a shell. And then let's make this guy like a little, like a light pink or something, so we know it's the tongue. Okay, here's my color picker. Let's go find a pink, reddish pink. There we go. Now let's apply it to the tongue. And then I'm gonna do just 1, just like that. No, let's do 2. Let's do 2. Make it a fat tongue. And then just like that, throw turbo smooth on that bad boy. But let's go back, because you see how this is, it's rounding off this edge. I don't want it to do that in the back right there. Actually, I don't mind that. What I do want to do though is I want to now, I'm going to take this back edge that I have right here. Just go back to let's do local again. And then what I want to do is I want to actually just make sure that this guy goes in like that. Now, like, that's his tongue, so. Now, if I hit turbo smooth, I should have something that looks kind of like a tongue. And if I hit my turbo smooth, just like so, get myself a tongue. All right. So I don't know if I like how sharp these edges are, so I might want to take these two away right here. Control backspace and see, yeah, it's a little softer. Because what it was doing, you see how it's like hardening off that edge? I don't like that. I want it to be more like that, where it's smoother, rounder. Yeah, so that's our tongue. All right, so we've got our tongue in, we've got our teeth in. Let's unhide all. We got our tongue. Whoa, look at that massive tongue. All right, we can just scale this guy down. Just like so. Let me see. We can just edit this guy, so this guy looks like it's just coming straight out of its throat. So I think that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna go down to our edit poly again, hit F3. And just kind of do view. I'm just rotating it a little bit, so I'm just selecting all these points, moving them up or rotating them so that they're not colliding with the teeth anymore. And I can even turn on the final results so we can see what our final results looking like. So. Just pull this guy in, pull this guy in like so. I want something that's a little expressive, you know what I'm saying? Like something that's gonna be kind of fun. And it's like, ooh, I want whatever it is that you're gonna be dropping in here. Yeah, there we go, just like that. Alright, so we've got our tongue in, we got it all in, except for this little stemmy part, right? If you see, there's like a little nodule right there that helps it. It's like a stem base or something. Even this guy's got it. So let's check that out and see if we can add that guy on in there. Alright, so we're just gonna, in our line here, we're gonna throw an edit poly modifier on it. And we're just going to select these two right here. So we're going to hold down shift, control, hold down shift right there. And I'm going to right click and I'm just going to extrude this out like that. Make sure that it's extruding the polygons based on its local normals. And I'm just going to extrude this guy out like so. And now if I turn on turbo smooth, I should have something that looks like that. But look at this bottom piece. This is not what we want. So we just need to either delete that bottom face, right? We just need to either delete this bottom face right here. All right, it'll achieve the same result we want where it hardens that edge, or we need to add an edge loop. So I'll just delete it because this is just like a modeling and rendering thing. And another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into this guy right here. And let's add a cap to this inside edge. So let's go here. Let's hit Alt and Q. Let's hide this guy. Let's hit P on the keyboard. Alright, we've got our little dude all made up. And all I want to do is make sure this pipe it closes off at the other side. So the best way to do that is, yeah, you can select these inside faces, hold R, shift drag them a little bit, make them into turn them into an element. I'm just going to show you a quick way. I'm going to select this, pull this guy out a little bit, flip it, select the top, right click it, cap it, select this guy, select this whole guy, and then control select that, alt select that, delete that, and just bring this guy in. Next up. And what we can do is what artists usually do for stuff like that is they'll make it black so that you can't see in there or something. So let me detach this so I can show you guys the finesse we be using on y'all. So detach it to itself. And now I've got that. So now I can just add like a black material and you guys won't even be able to notice it. Something's wrong there. So we just add like a material in there. Like so. Alright. So does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns? Alright, we knocked this guy out with, you know, some time to spare. Questions, anyone? So yeah, you know, to kind of finish this guy off, I would definitely turn on turbo smooth and stuff. So it's, you know, it's turbo smooth. No questions?
No question.
No questions. Alright, cool. Alright guys, so that's gonna be it for today's class. Look forward to seeing you guys on Tuesday or tomorrow? Do you have class tomorrow? I always forget. I don't know why I always forget. It was Wednesdays and Thursdays, so you guys are off tomorrow. So please post your stuff. Please post your work as soon as possible. Please, so I can give you the right grade. I can assess where you are with this class. And yeah, just do that for me. And we will be best of friends. If you don't, you're on my naughty list. And I'll tell your parents not to get you Christmas presents. Boom. But